Welcome to the Dream Life is Real Life podcast with your host, Hannah Hermanson, bringing you real-life stories of people who realized their dreams to educate and inspire you to create your legacy of abundance now.
All right, welcome back, friends. Today, I'm hanging out with Sophie Dalton. Sophie is a personal branding strategist and life coach that works with ambitious women to accelerate their success by owning their personal story and leveraging it into professional expertise. Her approach to personal branding is founded in life coaching and strengthening her clients' connection to their own intuition. To Sophie, a truly authentic brand will not only effectively recruit clients, help you get featured in media, and legitimize your expertise, but it would also give her clients a concise and effective communication tool to express their soul's purpose. Welcome to the show, Sophie.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So we just learned a little bit about the professional side of what you do and how you help your clients, but how did you get here? Have you always been focusing on topics of intuition and personal branding, or what's your story?
Thank you for asking me. I got here to where I am into this passion through a lifetime of people pleasing. I really, I always wanted to be a great student, a great leader, a great friend, teammate, whatever it was. And so, as somebody who has really high standards for myself and not only my performance, but what kind of person I am in the world, looking back, I now see that I was moderating my goals, my actions, my jokes, everything to please the people around me and to kind of fulfill those expectations. And that just led to a series of experiences in which I increasingly found that I wasn't actually deciding. Like, I wasn't in charge of creating my own dream life. And I would kind of do something because I thought it would, add to my resume, or I don't know, just because it's something that people think that you should do, when it wasn't really coming from me alone. And then that only led to resentment and discomfort in the life that I was living. So personal branding to me is it's come from this obsession with women standing in their truths, and first of all, identifying that, and then secondly, learning how to speak it and communicate it, not just so that they personally stand in their power, but so that professionally they can make more money, close the wage gap, and craft their business so that it represents their sole purpose.
Yeah, definitely so important for especially women. What you just described sounds like something I have experienced and I see a lot, and it's shoulding all over yourself.
Yeah.
When you're stuck in these shoulds, and it's just bringing more crap into your life and your energy is drained. And so what were the things that kind of woke you up or helped you realize, like, I am a people pleaser and I'm not happy about it?
Well, there were a few, it was a pattern. It's not just like a switch is turned on or off, but one distinct moment I can remember. I recently finished a year of traveling through Latin America, and as I was traveling, I would listen to whatever the local suggestion was, or whoever I was traveling with, especially speaking a second language. Like, I wanted to be a good guest in these other countries. And then a wake-up moment was when I was in this tiny town in Colombia, very far away from most other English speakers or any kind of other tourist track. And I realized that I couldn't remember the last time I had made my own decision about where I was going. Which sounds kind of insane, but I was trying so hard to, like, be a good traveler, be a good guest, be a good friend to these people that I had hooked up with. That I wasn't taking any time. Like, here I was on this, like, dream trip, and I still wasn't taking any time to check in with myself.
Yes, preach. I think that is such stark example. Yet so often, whether you're on your dream trip or you think you have your dream job, dream relationship, like we are so immune to just going with the flow, which is supposed to be a good thing, or taking advice from other people and just assuming that others know best for us. And I think that's such a relatable experience you had, yet so many people, it looks different for a lot of folks, whether it's traveling or a job or a relationship, like I said.
Right. Like it will this pattern, I think, is a really ingrained societal pattern, but it will express itself in different ways. And just like it will in a personal example, it will in a business example. And so what I'm fascinated with is how do we like fulfill being the respectful, of course, culturally appropriate person, no matter whatever it is, no matter how do we be that nice, kind person that we want to be, and at the same time stand strong in who we are so that we can accelerate creating the version of ourselves that we most want to be.
That balance of masculine, go-getting, achieving energy, and the feminine being and enjoying and being generous version, right?
Exactly.
So, you mentioned in your own life, it kind of manifested as a pattern, and you had some insight when you were traveling, but what sort of advice do you give other people or clients that come to you and they're negotiating these shoulds and wants in their life or their business?
Yeah, my method is through a series, through really deep questioning, and also giving them journaling modules in which they pour their heart out, and then I get to reflect back to them some of the truths that within that they, that it's easy, it's hard for us to see when we're looking at our own lives. But to me, of course, having a coach, having somebody to reflect that back to you and kind of structure you into being accountable for your dreams, but really that process is a deep questioning. So you can, of course, do it alone. It's just a little bit lonelier and might take a whole lot longer, which I've done both. So.
Yeah. That question of like, do I want to muddle through this and figure it out on my own, or do I want, a shortcut and someone to hold me accountable, like you said? So when people make the decision that like, nope, I'm done muddling along on my own, I want more clarity and I want it fast, what are some of those questions? Walk us through a little bit of your process.
Yeah, so I love in my personal branding framework, like I just helped a client design a business. She started out as an accountant, but knew that wasn't really where her heart was. It was just where her skill set was. And so we've been working together for just 2 months now, I think. And within the first month, she realized that wasn't really her dream career. Her dream career involved her hobby of energy work and tarot cards. But she just, before we started working together, she had no idea how the heck she could combine those two. So for me, it's drawing in all the parts of who you are under one umbrella so that you can actually leverage those hobbies or those outside passions that you think might not be related to this professional thing that you want to do, and combine them so that you not only design your own niche, but also your own expertise. So in her case, she's become a financial coach that works with educating around the energy of money.
And so what were some of the exercises, or how do you identify how all these things fit together? I think that listeners have probably heard like define your niche and get clear on your mission, but do you have any like specific exercises or things that listeners could start chewing on today?
Sure. I think it's getting really clear on exactly what your dream life will look like, whether it's the exercise of mapping out your dream day or what you would be paid for. Like if you can ask yourself, if you could be paid for anything, what would that be? And then another question is looking at the negative side of it, like from where you've been, how have you felt unseen so far? And those parts of yourself that have felt unseen, those are what you want to draw into wherever you're going. Even if you are speaking, say, in your 9 to 5 or whatever, whatever version it takes, how can you show up more fully as yourself? And I think that's by kind of digging into wherever you've been uncomfortable before. So the discomfort can come from, it might present itself as jealousy or resentment or frustration. And we tend not to talk about those things because we think that we're complaining. But allow yourself to get into it, because those are like signposts that are trying to show you where you need to be going.
Yeah. And I think actually we sometimes put pressure on ourselves, or I see this with my clients a lot, is like, well, I don't want to be negative. I don't want to be complaining. And when I hear people fear complaints or even just straight up complain, I remind them that complaining means there's something better. Like, we don't complain about gravity because we can't do anything about it. Yeah. But if we complain about our coworkers or our income, that means we know there's got to be something better. Mm-hmm. So I love that sort of reframe that you just shared. Is it's not complaining if you look at what's frustrating you or what's not ideal in your life. And if you can map out what is your dream life actually like, and just start aligning yourself and doing little things each day to get closer.
Yeah, and that's what's so cool. I use and I see personal branding as the actual how in between the wherever you are now and the version of what you wanted to be. Because when you control your story, you start, like, just as a very simple example, introducing yourself as that person that you want.
Yeah. She cut out a little bit there, but it sounds like just another reminder that we hear from our guests to not focus on the how so much.
On the be, then of course that's how people are going to start to see you. And so in accolades you think might write that story for you, you gain ownership of it, and so you can just like
own your story and share.
Right, because it's deciding, and then the magic of controlling your story, that's what a personal exactly
Amazing. And I think this is important to be redefining, or maybe just defining for people, what is a personal brand? And you've noted it a couple of times, and you've touched on storytelling and owning your value or your mission, but how do you define a personal brand?
A personal brand is what you're known for, personally and professionally, how you show up in the world. And aside from your service, like, how your personal brand is communicating what your values are, what you would fight for. It's what your life is here to communicate. And when you have a personal brand, not only are you seen for who you are, but you can you have an expertise and a niche, and you get to make more money because of it. And also in business, with online business, you have the beauty of flexibility pivoting, because you're going to be known for your brand as opposed to whatever service you are currently offering.
Yeah, so it's kind of like your personality, your legacy, and it sounds like we have a lot of control over owning our story and articulating what we do or who we are. But how do you see other people playing a role in the development of an individual's personal brand?
I think personal brand is how you show up in that relationship. So, and it's in that confidence with yourself that, like, maybe this isn't what you're looking for, but that it almost doesn't matter how other people interact with you, which is incredibly important in entrepreneurship, because, when you're starting your own business, when you're pitching, you can expect, like, to succeed, quote unquote, succeed, or get the response that you're most hoping for, like 1 out of 10 times, right? So, like, it's a tough world out there, and that's why it's so important to be grounded in who you are and what you're delivering, so that it isn't constantly being modified by other people's expectations.
Yeah, there's definitely huge power in just owning who you are and who you want to be. And I also found a useful exercise when I was starting my business and, sort of personal brand was a quadrant exercise. And one quadrant is what I know about myself and what everyone else knows about me. And then the next quadrant is like what I know about myself that no one else knows about me. And then the bottom quadrants are like, what does everyone else know about me that I don't know? And that could be, that's not like, gossip. That's like, you have a really beautiful smile when you talk, or you say, way too much. Sort of outside perspectives. And then finally, is what no one knows about me, what I don't know and what no one else knows about me. And it was a really revealing exercise, and it helped me play to my strengths. It wasn't an exercise to be like, these are the things I don't know about myself and I need to go fix, and I need to prove to everyone that this is what they don't know about me. But it was like, okay, these are the ways I'm already being perceived. These are some spaces for opportunity. And the more that I can understand how I'm being perceived, I found that to be really helpful. Like, to not it helped with my alignment. Like, okay, I'm already being perceived as like optimistic and motivated, and so I can really play to those strengths. But yeah, you've got to own it yourself, no matter what what strengths you decide to play to. You got to own them and know that they are yours and you possess them.
Right. And I like that because it can be, to me, personal branding is acting on what, like you said, has yet to be seen yet, because you are getting yourself into the position of who you want to be. And so one concrete exercise that I can give is the question: if you could read a review of your business or whatever it is you do in the newspaper, and it was like the most stellar, like, review that just makes you want, know that you could die right now because you exerted your purpose onto the world, what would that review say? And I find that to be a really good shortcut to finding your why. And then your why, in the way that I craft mission statements, you lead with your why, because it's really attractive when you can lead with your passion or your values. You can actually establish common ground with people, usually no matter who they are. And then the how, the who and what follows the why, because the why is always going to be the most important part. So yeah, like getting that is one, it's one really quick question to kind of slice into a fantasy of your dream life, and then you get to like smack dab put it in your mission statement, and all of a sudden that's who you are and the transformation that you're creating.
Mission statements, people, if you do not have one, start experimenting with it. Sophie and I have different ways of laying out how you state it or how you go about formulating it. But at the end of the day, you need to know your why, and getting clear on that will make it much easier to start sharing that, articulating that, and of course, monetizing that. So seriously, stop listening if you don't have a mission statement and go do a little research, because I totally agree on that foundational piece being so powerful to, like you said, feeling more fulfilled in your life, earning more money, being around the right people. So good stuff. Well, Sophie, you have already been giving us so many golden nuggets today, but I want to transition into a little pop quiz. Don't be nervous. It's only 3 questions, and I'm sure you can handle them.
Okay. Yep.
All right. Question number 1. You've touched on this a little bit, but I just want to ask directly, if there's one exercise that listeners could do today, right now, to get closer to their dream life, what would you recommend?
I do think I'm starting with your mission statement. But no, and I'm gonna rescind that, because mission statement, yeah, that might be, it depends on where you are, but the biggest thing that you can do in terms of advancing your business is gain confidence in what you have to offer. And so one of the most valuable exercises that I think we share is listing out everything that you have ever invested in yourself to get to the point where you are right now. Like whether it's monetary investment of going to school, or years spent studying something, or particularly personal experiences of something that you survived, or whatever it is. What are your personal and professional kind of qualifications that that substantiate who you are and what you have to offer. And if you've ever done this exercise before, I'd be surprised because it's rare that you see all of your value in one place, and that can just be such a boost to know that you're pouring not only your heart and soul, but all of these experiences and monetary investment into whatever service you're offering, and that can just be so nice to know that you are indeed giving a high ticket transformational process.
You are priceless, people. Take a good look, like Sophie said, at everything in your life that you've earned, invested in, experienced, and know that packaging that and giving it to other people is truly priceless. So question number 2 is, what is a tangible resource, whether it's a book, a person, a conference, that you'd recommend listeners getting their hands on now, whether it's to advance their personal brand, gain that confidence? What's something we should get our hands on?
There's so many. I'm going to cheat and go with 2. The first 2 that come to mind are The Artist's Way, because that is a book that describes what happens when you have a very creative idea, but all the resistance that is going to come up to in your path. So I think so often we have this idea of when you're following something that's creative, it should be easy and flow all the time. But while yes, some parts of it are, there's also a lot of struggle. You have to prove yourself to the people or to the universe or whatever. You have to keep showing up and show that this is your goal, this is who you are, and what change you're meant to make. And then the second, if I can, is you're a badass at making money, because especially when you're starting or growing your business, understanding whatever money patterns you have going on can be really empowering to know that you are licensed to make money in delivering whatever service you have. It is okay, and you're actually helping the world by doing so.
Yes, both excellent reads and super empowering, both of those titles. Doing well. Final question is, how can people stay connected with you or learn more about what it is you do?
Please come find me on Facebook. That's where I really run my business. So I'm posting every day over there. And then I have a group in which we go through personal branding, but also metaphysical tools in order to tap into your intuition so that you can not only connect to your personal brand and your purpose, but that you can stay connected so that you really keep the power in your hands. And that as you're guiding your business, you can be guided through whatever turbulation will show up because you are confident in the internal voice.
Amazing. And how do we find that or search you on Facebook?
Sophie Dalton.
Sophie Dalton. All right. And from your personal page, we can find the group?
Absolutely. It's just click on my banner, whatever it is. It's in my bio.
Perfect. All right, you guys, that's always amazing when you get that personal invitation to connect with folks, whether it's their email or social media. So go ahead and find Sophie Dalton on Facebook and keep moving into that space that is your authentic voice, where you find clarity and know that your personal brand it already exists if you just give it some space and some deep thinking, like Sophie has encouraged us today. So any last words of wisdom or parting thoughts, Sophie?
Not at all. Keep living the dream life and keep working for the dream life. I think that's it. Don't give up on the dream no matter where you are at in creating it.
I love it. Dream life is real life. So thank you so much for joining us today, Sophie. And friends, we'll be back next week with another inspiring guest. Keep on keeping on.
Thanks, Hannah.
You've been learning how to make your dream life your real life with Hannah Hermanson. To get the resources mentioned on today's show and to listen to past episodes, visit www.dreamlifeisreallife.com.